Hey, welcome. Good to see you. At the end of our last video in the series, we were looking at our sprint starts and our sprint stop transitions and how we were using an additive animation to support that. So if we are in our we're playing, we can check those out. We have our sprint start and then we stop sprinting, and I disconnected our sprint stop. And what I want to do today is create a brand new one, but we're going to do that all in Unreal again. But this time, we are going to use the control rig and start from scratch and create an additive animation. We're going to hook up our old one just to see what's going on. So we're sprinting, and then we stop sprinting. We're sprinting, we stop sprinting. I think the major thing I want to fix here are the arms. The arms don't look great. All right, let's come here, sprinting. Let me stop sprinting. They like the elbows kind of flare out and do something weird. But also, I just want to go through the process with you and show you how I would create an additive animation that's going to layer on top of this sprint, so that when you stop sprinting, we get that sort of deceleration and that oomph back out, so that we can almost like are planting our feet down and we're trying to slow ourselves down. So we're going to rear back and decrease our speed. And that's the feeling that we want to have here. I do like how currently there's a quick jerk back. That feels nice. So let's go ahead and look at the animation. I do like that. Let's go ahead and get our sequencer going. As soon as I figure out where my mouse is. There it is. Okay, we're going to bring this guy up. Go to our locomotion and stop playing. We're going to edit. And we've got our sprint animation working there. What I want to do, let's see here. Let's bring up our layers. We have our sprint left forward. So just getting accustomed to the scene again. And this one. Okay. I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to select everything. I'm going to add a new layer. And we're just going to call this sprint stop add. And the next thing I want to do, I want to open up this other sequencer. I'm not sure if it's going to play for us if I have two different sequencers going. So I'll stay in the old sequencer file, loco file. I'll drag in just one of these other SKMs. I'm going to add our animation. Delete that. Add animation. Sprint stop. Add. There it is. And that animation is 1 second. That's what we're looking at here. So I just want to recreate this. So let's come to this one. We're going to do that, but I'm going to work from this rig pose here. So let me see here. I think I might have added that to the wrong one. So let's undo a bunch of stuff. Keep undoing. There we go. There's my control rig. So I deleted it. We're going to add back in on the proper SKM. Right, stop, add. So we're going to see that again. I also want to get that lean back to feel that lean back a little bit more. I feel like the kid in her would like kind of try to overcorrect for how fast she's moving. Okay, so this is also part of like we have something done. I want to just show the process of creating it from scratch. I want to change it, but I also don't want to reinvent the wheel. Um, so one of the things that we would do professionally is to copy poses and paste those poses. Um, but I don't think that's necessary. So we're just going to go through the process. In a production environment, you really just want to try to use every tool in your toolbox to get this stuff done as quickly and as high quality as possible. Because there's always going to be something else to work on. All right, let's start setting some keys. We're going to select our objects here. Make sure we're in the right place. We're going to set a key. And then I want to return back to 0. So I'm going to set a key again. So I'll probably make some changes, but I like what the hips are doing, so they're coming forward. But one of the things I liked, what we did, we just play real quick. Actually, let's not play, let's bring it up. Start, add. One of the things I like what we did in our last video is how on frame 0, we were basically in our anticipation already. And this works, I don't think I explained it, but one of the reasons why that works, did I close the EVP? So one of the reasons why that works really well is because we have a, and I'm going to check what the blend time is, but when we transition from one state to another, we can control how much blend we're putting out there. I'm not sure what happened. I think this might have crashed. Maybe there it goes. Okay. So we want to check from this state to this state, what's the blend time? So we select our transition node here, and we can see that our blend time is 0.2. So if we want to feel these moves a little harder, so if we're like 0.2, just change this to 0.1. I'm going to grab both of those. Let's change it to 0. We can play around with what these transitions into these states feel like and how hard we're going to feel that animation. Let's get this up and running. We're going to sprint forward. So I don't know if you're seeing it, but I'm seeing a pop like right into our additive animation. So we go to 0.25 for slow-mo. You speed up. You can see over here like that pop really showed up. We do want some blend time, but how hard we want to get into it. So there it goes, it pops again. And then we pop again. Okay, so let's go back to this blend time. Let's try 0.1, because we do want it to be hard, so that there's that feeling of almost immediacy into this new pose and trying to put forth that effort into running faster. And we'll try to use the same settings when we're moving slower. Now we're blending. It's a harder blend, so let's go back to game speed. Yeah, you're definitely feeling it a lot more. So go to this animation. So like I said, our pose is changed on frame 1. If we have no blend time, we're going to just pop right to this pose. But if we do have a blend time at 0.1 now, we'll blend slowly into this animation and slowly out of that other animation, kind of like a crossfade. So we'll take the pose we're coming from, which is just our normal running best run pose ever. We're running and our torso is kind of more vertical. I'm just going to keep making this the best drawing ever. And then what we're going to do is we're going to come to this pose here. So the way the engine is going to play that is we're going to start at this pose and then we're going to end at this pose. So like if this is 1 and this is 0, and 1 is we're playing this animation at 100%, and 0 is we're playing this animation at 0%. Over our blend time, 1 seconds, 0.1 seconds, we're going to blend out of 1 and go to 0. And the curve, we come over here, go back. That blend time curve is this. So this is the type of curve that we'll be using to blend over our duration of 0.1. Then back to our drawing. So let's do it over here. So we have animation A and animation B. And animation A is playing at a value of 1, so 100%. And over our 0.1 seconds, we're blending out of that animation and into our next animation. So we're slowly just turning this value to 0%. And then in our next animation, we're going from 0 to 1 over this same time, so it's happening simultaneously. We're ramping up from 0 over 0% to our 1% using that curve value. So these animations are kind of like this, playing on top of each other. Let me do that in a different color. I think you guys get it. Go with lime. So animation B, same thing, over that 0.1 seconds, we are blending in. So we're slowly blending out of our run, blending into our sprint animation, and then we're blending out of our run animation and blending into our sprint animation. And we're using our additive too. So our additive is blending in also. Blending in, so we're blending in 2 animations, our sprint and our additive. And then our additive plays for, let's see, how long is that additive? 24 frames. So it plays for, actually, let's make sure on our additive in. So it plays for 1 second, and then we'll transition out, and then we'll be in sprint. And we'll have the same effect over here. So I'm going to go ahead and change those to 0.1, get that going. And I'm going to create a new sprint stop animation and go ahead and get that hooked up before we get started on the animation over here in Sequencer. Okay, so let's look for this sprint stop add, sprint start pose. So we can use the same pose. We're going to use the same animation that we had as a starting point from the last video. We're just going to rename it to stop. Open that up. The reason why I want to use that is so that we can just come here and delete the pelvis additive curves that we added. But I wanted to just go ahead and use these additive settings that we had from our previous file. And you can set those up again from scratch, but again, we're trying to work quickly and efficiently in some instances. So we are going ahead and using these asset details, these parameters, these additive settings. That's the word I'm looking for. We're using those additive settings to give us a leg up and move quickly. So now we can see there's nothing on there. So now when we export out a sequencer, we'll use that animation, bring this over here, and plop that in. And eventually what we'll do, because I want to create a brand new animation, probably I'll replace this one completely, and but I'll want this naming, so I'll just resave this one over this one, and then hook this one back up. Okay. Saving. Let's get back to sequencer. So I think what I do want to do, like I was saying, is have that blend, have that first pose just be a hard back pose, and we're not necessarily we aren't necessarily worrying about the blend. What we want is for us to be more in that anticipated pose, and then we'll shoot backwards. So let's shoot backwards over 4 frames. Try to really exaggerate it just to see where we're going with this. And then we'll kind of settle down here, set a key, and I'll tween it to closer back to our 0 value. So now that we've kind of got a rough animation in place, move this over, and that way I can move this, get kind of like some overshoot there, or it's a little wobbly. So let's just work with that, see how we like it. So sprint stop add, actually the name I want to grab is here. So I'll get that, come back over here and export. Find our export location and overwrite that file. And everything should be good. So we're going to play, come over here to our APP so that we can watch this all happen. We're going to run, now we're sprinting, and yeah, we're getting that sprint stop. That's already feeling good. We feel that hard jerk back, and then that recoil. Maybe you don't want to recoil so much. I think this is a really good way to test your animation too. So you do the bare minimum, just the gross movement essentially. That way you can test it and see if you like that. And You can keep modifying it at that very high level, or keep testing, and then get something that you like. Then you can build the rest of the animation on top of that. So let's see, let's just make some changes now. Don't like how much it was wobbling back. We want to get the back into there a little bit more. Let's go ahead and start using the back. And go ahead and get some head stuff in there too. But do want to offset a little bit. Go push into it a little bit more. See what the pelvis is doing. Go to our curves. Like the pelvis is hitting hard on our Y. I'm sorry, on our X rotation. And then we're coming out of it. So I think that's okay. And then we're cushioning into or slowing into our Y position here. What we can do is push into it here and then come back a little bit faster. Actually, let's keep the lean going. Kind of like a whoa, hold your horses. And the head's offset a little bit. As soon as I can select it, there we are. And probably want to push into that a little bit more. And then start to overcorrect faster because we want the head looking back to where it was. So really jerking back. We got some bounce in there too. Kind of not planning for that, but sometimes you get something and you might like it. So here, I'll just build in some of that pose here too. And then what we can do is try to lead with the spine. See how we like that. Just trying to push it around. Lead with the head too. Just try to stabilize that a little bit. Kind of pushing it just a little bit. Maybe we don't go as far. And if we really want the head to lead, this would be more like that, I think. We can have a breakdown here too. Try to, looking at the head position here, we want it kind of snaking around. So we're going to push this forward too. Push this forward more. Bring this down. It may not work, and I'm not really sure how much I want to do this. But you never know. And then we can lead with the torso coming back. See how that works. Looks like we're dodging something now. Definitely going away from our simplistic approach over here. But it's worth a shot because we can always go back to that one if we really want to. Don't want to go too far with that. Do what we're doing here. Bring that torso forward a little bit more. Rotate into it more. Looks like we're hitting hard here. Do want to be coming out of that a little bit sooner. Same for the head. Okay, let's try that. See how we like it. Let's grab that name again. Break this down. And go ahead and test. And make sure that we're pointing at the right thing. Play. Ooh, I don't like that at all. But you feel it. Looks like she gets punched in the face. Ooh. But that's good to know. So we went from the one I was trying to match and started to just play with something that felt way more severe. It's good to know if we ever do a hit reaction, want to get her like hit plopped in the head. Yeah, let's go back to something more subtle. So it's always worth playing around with something just to see what it might look like and how you're learning from that. And what I want to do is delete these or set these back to 0. That way we just have the pelvis. And we can rework the pelvis again. Maybe not so much. We are getting back a little quicker and a little bouncier. Let's not bounce there. Just make it a little bit more subtle because we've got a lot of running that's going on too. We may not see all that. Actually, let's play around with it. I don't know if I had that bounce in there before. Just animating these one at a time now. It feels good. Now let's get the head. I'm really just focusing on, obviously, the head, the torso, and the pelvis. We'll overshoot a little here. Coming back in. there. See how that works. I want to settle. Feels like we're hitting a wall here. Just really slow. Make that torso move just a little slower. As soon as I figure out how to isolate this curve, there we are. Bring this down a little bit. I guess we could go over just a tiny bit. Have it dip down a little bit. And circle back around. Fix some of this head stuff here. Whoops. Left that one in there. Isolate. Got a little bit of jitter in there. Didn't want that. Except these I just kind of play by ear and have an idea about what I want to do, but not exactly how I want to go about it or how exactly it should look. I just play around with these curves, these positions, posing in the screen, just to see what it is that I really want and what feels good. Not necessarily beholden to something specific. Oftentimes it's okay. I let the character and the action help guide you. Sometimes you might have an idea, and you try it, and it just it just seems completely off character, um, just like out of place for the moment, kind of like what we were doing before, where it felt like she was moving, like getting struck in the head. Just why? Just gonna move this head up a little bit. All right, let's test this. Let's save because you never know. Export from sequencer. Find our location. Bake. And then bring up our AVP and play. And so we're playing and we stop. I'm not trying to get something that looks completely different. Feels like we go back too fast to our original pose. Like it would be nice if we hung out in that pose for a little bit longer. So we just use this to keep drawing. No, I can't make it bigger. But we're running here, and that's kind of our lean on our head and our torso. And then we shoot back, lean backwards. But we don't hang out in this pose long enough. It's like we need to hit into it and then keep pushing into it just a little bit longer. Then we can settle back into our original pose. That's what we want to do. We want to push back into it a little bit further, like push back into it quickly, use more time. So like this is say 5 frames here, and then use another say 7 frames or more to keep pushing back into it ever so slightly. So use that first 5 frames to move most of the amount. So that's the amount that you're going to move. And then use the next 7 frames to move just a little bit more. So like right there, you're pushing into it a little bit more. Then you can come back out. That's what we'll try here. Let's see what we did on our old one too. Definitely holding that. And when we get to that position, our back position here, we get there on frame 10, frame 8, we push into it. We don't really come out of it until frame 15. So yeah, we're holding it for about 7 frames. And then we come out of it gradually over another 6 frames. Do like that feeling a little bit more, other than the jerk and the quick recoil. So let's come here to our curves and move back very quickly. So we're there. We are holding it for a while, but I think we need to hold it more. What we're going to do is use the retime tool. Take this frame here. So that's when we start moving out. And we don't want to move this key right here. So if I take this slider, we'll move everything in between. So we can just do that. And then we don't want to move anything after or before that one either. Just move that back a bit. See? So now we're getting that quick push, and then we're holding it a little bit longer. I think what we can do here now, we can start probably coming out of it sooner for some positions, and maybe not for others. Get out of that retime tool. And when we come back, we just want to come back kind of more gradually, slowly. So pushing into it, I think we can push into it a little bit more here and then start to come out of it. There, so the pelvis is leading. Getting some head bob there. Looks like it's dragging here. I'm not sure. I like that. I think we can kind of overshoot it there at the end. Yeah, it's feeling a lot better. Of course, as an additive animation, this plays on top of our current primary animation. So it's more important about what that looks like. So that's why we are testing as often as possible on these changes. You like a change, doesn't take too long. I really do like having that quick back and forth as soon as I can figure out where I'm actually exporting. There we go. Exporting, playing, running, sprinting, sprint stopping. It feels pretty good. I do like that. Let's look at it from the front view. Not that we'll ever really see that. Maybe it's possible. Yeah, here, sprinting. I think it might go down too far. Whoops. Yeah, maybe that might be something. Oops. Yeah, let's bring the pelvis. Let's bring the pelvis up a little bit. In our additive animation. See if that helps. I keep missing the wrong button. There you are. Yeah, it definitely goes too low. And those knees are almost touching the ground there. Okay, so let's make some more changes. So also having to consider that this is transitioning from a run to a sprint. I'm sorry, from a sprint to a run. I'm going to just keep this pelvis up more. So let me see. That'll be Z. We don't want to be that far down. What I'm going to do is just scale all these keys. So I'm going to select all those keys and move our anchor point. Scale this up. Where we're not getting too much down. And then we'll test that. And if this looks good, well, I think we'll call it quits. But we have to confirm. Play. Running. Sprinting. Sprint stop. Oh, that's much better. Oh yeah, that's much better. I like it. All right. Well, that was great. Well, that was great. Thank you for coming with me on this little journey. I guess we have some minor cleanup to do. I'm going to resave this so I have a proper name and call it. But I won't make you stick around for that. All right. Happy animating out there.